already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
And they Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger Crawford can look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get in that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin, he fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins, the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo's a good guy. I'm not saying not taking nothing from Canelo.
Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is being hailed as the biggest fight of the year, and legendary trainer Teddy Atlas has weighed in with his blunt analysis. Atlas believes Crawford has the tools to win regardless of weight class, pointing to a superior skill set, discipline, and adaptability. In contrast, he argues that Canelo is no longer the same fighter, saying the Mexican star has lost a hunger and edge that once made him great. Atlas even labels Canelo overrated compared to Crawford, insisting that Crawford's sharpness, mentality, and relentless drive give him the clear advantage in the showdown.
The urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that he just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters, or near great fighters, you could make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. He didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you could make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument he was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, a fighter who once shared the ring with Terence Crawford, believes size will play no decisive role in Crawford's upcoming clash with Canelo Alvarez. According to him, Crawford's skill set, intelligence, and adaptability far outweigh any physical advantages Canelo may bring. He emphasizes that Crawford's ability to read opponents, make mid-fight adjustments, and dismantle strategies makes him too smart for Canelo. In his eyes, Crawford is among the most calculated fighters of this era, with mastery over timing, distance, and rhythm, factors he considers more important than sheer size. Mean Machine insists that Crawford's sharpness, discipline, and versatility allow him to control every aspect of a fight. For him, this matchup is not about who is naturally bigger, but about who has the sharper tools. And that, without question, is Terence Crawford.
Good for Crawford, Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo's a good guy. I'm not saying not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way when you say oh, he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be even faster, and his head was good in the ring. He's boxing, he's just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not I'm just giving an example, that size doesn't matter in boxing. They say Canelo is big and he's fighting 175, 168, and Crawford is moving from 127, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just that I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not lots of people gain weight like that. sloppy weight, like I would say like fat, but he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be good.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is like his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is what makes difference.
Mean Machine draws a striking comparison between the upcoming Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight and Canelo's 2013 clash with Floyd Mayweather. Back then, Canelo was younger, less experienced, and ultimately outclassed by Mayweather's superior speed, defense, and ring IQ. Mean Machine argues that Crawford possesses the tools to replicate that blueprint, using sharp movement, precise punching, and calculated counters to neutralize Canelo's strengths. Still, he points out a key difference. Today's Canelo is far more seasoned. Over the past decade, he has faced and beaten elite opponents, sharpened his adaptability, and developed patience, giving him advantages he lacked in that early career defeat.
Go hard, but they just throw, and he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots, just like another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo, and Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah,
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Or do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly. They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And they're like that's what they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Regis Progrise offers a very different perspective on the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown. The former world champion dismisses the idea that Crawford's punches will trouble a naturally bigger, granite-chin fighter like Canelo. He points out that Alvarez has withstood shots from some of the hardest punchers in boxing, fighters larger and stronger than Crawford, yet has remained nearly unshakable. Still, Progrise does not fully write off Crawford's chances. While he doubts the impact of Crawford's power, he admits the Nebraska star has the skill, strategy, and determination to compete at the highest level. With his world-class technique, stance switching, and tactical precision, Crawford remains a dangerous challenge even against a powerhouse like Canelo.
First, I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at it. And then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get in that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin, he fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger, but when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man, and I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave trouble, Erislan, Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol. They gave him trouble and stuff like that. His skull moves around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that, but I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't, Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about great. This might be, people might kill me for it, but well, not really, but this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Terence Crawford, shares a view similar to Regis Prograis' skepticism. Vargas admits that while Crawford is sharp, precise, and technically brilliant, he does not believe his punches carry the kind of heavy power needed to hurt a fighter like Canelo Alvarez. Having felt Crawford's shots firsthand, Vargas suggests they lack the raw force to seriously trouble someone with Canelo's size, strength, and proven durability. He notes that Alvarez has faced and absorbed power from much bigger opponents, making it questionable whether Crawford can present the same level of threat. Still, Vargas acknowledges that boxing isn't just about brute force. Timing, accuracy, and consistency can wear down even the toughest champion.
Gonna be done in camp.
You know, all we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68, big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So you know, he's a veteran. He's doing better in tactics in there, where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like.
Mickey Bay takes a bold and controversial stance, accusing Canelo Alvarez of cherry-picking in his decision to fight Terence Crawford. According to Bay, Canelo has built a reputation for carefully selecting opponents, often waiting for the right timing or exploiting a size advantage. In this case, he believes Alvarez viewed Crawford, a naturally smaller fighter moving up in weight, as a favorable target. Many critics within boxing circles share this perspective, suggesting that Canelo is leveraging his size and physical strength to tilt the matchup in his favor. Bay notes that this narrative has fueled backlash among fans and analysts, sparking debate over the fairness of the fight. Still, he admits Crawford is far too skilled to be dismissed, with intelligence and adaptability capable of turning the tables even against a bigger man.
Comparison type of a thing to make it seem like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
No, he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you've been fighting at. Like, Terence put his weight on, so it's a difference. Now, Canelo's a lot bigger, like, hands down. Like, just mass, as far as mass, he naturally that big. You know, he got to come down. Terence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that. That's like putting a dude Benavidez as a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean you're heavyweight, though. So Canelo was by far the bigger man. We didn't see him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm and hurt him. Like, he didn't hurt Kovalev, light heavyweight. So I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev?
Just period at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Did?
No, he just Kovalev. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might want to fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there, though, and he fought way up in light heavyweight. He been in super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he got to hurt Crawford, or he got to get his major respect. He got to get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he got to survive. If he can't that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford? He needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that. You know, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo gonna line you up regardless, right?
Tom Loeffler presents a different angle, focusing less on fairness and more on the spectacle of Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. From a promoter's standpoint, he views this showdown as one of the most marketable events in modern boxing. Both fighters are global superstars with massive followings that cut across cultures, nations, and demographics. Loeffler stresses that matchups of this scale go beyond the sport itself, generating mainstream buzz and attracting casual viewers who normally wouldn't tune in, making it a true cultural event as much as a boxing contest.
Profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that. And, you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. Callum, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., from one of the biggest boxing name families, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that it like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, we both know Colin Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to the sport is just so sincere. He's so real. Being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him. I think in these weeks leading up to the fight, the fighting public who does not know Colin Walsh is really going to fall in love with him, especially, by fight night.
Saudi boxing power broker Turki Alishik has been widely credited as the driving force behind making the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight a reality. His financial influence and promotional power have consistently delivered dream matchups, though analysts note that not every pairing he engineers is the most competitive. In this case, critics point to the significant natural size difference, warning that Crawford could be at a disadvantage before the opening bell. Many argue the fight was made more for global demand and spectacle than for sporting balance. Still, Alishik's role is undeniable. Without his vision and resources, this clash between two of boxing's most valuable stars likely would not exist, regardless of debate over fairness. His ability to bring the sport's elite together ensures fans will witness a truly once-in-a-generation event that transcends traditional boxing boundaries.
And as Junior Canelo, would have mopped up all of these dudes, bro. Would have mopped up all of these dudes. Like, when we're coming out and saying that this is a complete mismatch, and this is a joke, and this is a fantasy fight, you know what I'm saying? That Turki Alishik dreamed of it. We know he's a big Crawford fan, knowing, the level of star power that Canelo Alvarez has, and he had the back to make this fight happen. It doesn't mean that it's a logical fight for boxing, bro. At the end of the day, man, you guys tell me if Terence Crawford would have beat Triple G. Tell me if he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders. Tell me if he could beat Bivol, even though, Canelo didn't beat Bivol, but tell me if he could have beat a Sergey Kovalev. And the other loss Canelo has to Mayweather, man. Crawford, nobody in the world I felt could have beat Mayweather in the height of his career, bro. Tell me if Crawford, bro, would have just flat out went in there and beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's the level of competition that Canelo faced, man. And these dudes that he went in there to beat. Terence Crawford is nowhere, has fought nowhere near the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has fought. And we've had some comments talking about, you talk about we're going off of our emotions and you're going off of your emotions. You're not giving no facts, bro. Like, this is all facts right here, bro. The fact of the matter is, Canelo Alvarez has fought at light heavyweight. The fact of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only fought once at 154 pounds. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting touched up by those right hands all night, bro. By Majumov. That's the fact, bro. The biggest, most dominating fight he ever had was against Errol.
Trainer Dave Coldwell has long praised Terence Crawford's versatility, and he believes those qualities will be crucial against Canelo Alvarez. Crawford's ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw stances gives him a rare edge, allowing him to create angles, disrupt rhythm, and constantly keep opponents guessing. Coldwell also highlights Crawford's exceptional footwork, which lets him glide in and out of range while avoiding traps. Against Canelo, who excels at cutting off the ring and applying steady pressure, this mobility could be decisive. If Crawford maintains distance, uses lateral movement, and avoids being cornered, Coldwell argues he can win rounds and even the fight. For him, the key isn't raw power, but discipline, ring IQ, and constant.
When the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think he's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch. He's very good as southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, he might. I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time, fight fans,